A very warm welcome to our day's news hour. I'm Solomon Danye. Thanks for joining me. Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed and Ghanaian President Nana Akufo-Addo have agreed to enhance cooperation between Ethiopia and Ghana on various areas of mutual concern. They discussed a wide range of issues and reached an agreement to work closely on bilateral and African issues of common concern. Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed expressed his appreciation to the Ghanaian president for his warm welcome at the presidential palace in Accra. Members of the Ethiopian diaspora community said they have played an immense role in combating diplomatic pressure over the past year. Talking to ETV English, the diaspora community pledged to further strengthen their support for their motherland. Goshumalisa reports.
Ethiopian diaspora community has been increasing their contribution in various socio-economic and political aspects, irrespective of political and other differences. The government, of course, has established a diaspora agency to create conducive environment for diaspora who would like to contribute to their nation. Accordingly, health, education and guard-related issues are some of the areas where the diaspora community have been engaged in. According to the Diaspora Agency, over 192.1 million birr was collected from the diaspora community for the construction of the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam. Similarly, they collected more than 30 million birr for the Dine for Nation program and raised about 600 million birr for Ethiopian Defense Force and Reinstate Tigray. In an exclusive interview with ETV representative of Ethiopian diaspora community to the Scandinavian nations, Ethiopia Lamayo said the diaspora community was actively engaged in various national issues in the last fiscal year.
The community in general, that people are buying the guard bond and people are contributing without buying bond and contributing with their own money by making time, energy and money, so everybody is contributing. Those who believe that Ethiopia is rising up. Me personally also I have contributed for about 200,000 Ethiopian birr through the bond. It's not only about me, it's about everybody is contributing in any way possible. All diasporas, those who believe in Ethiopia, they are contributing their time, they are contributing their money, they are contributing their energy and knowledge. So believe in us and we are working hard day and night.
Zodu Mengste, who came from Great Britain, said the diaspora community is challenging the international community using the facts on the ground.
The Americans and the British, the Europeans, they did very bad things to our community, especially for the Ethiopian government. All the time they need just like a slave, all African countries, they assume still now colonized by themselves, but that's not true. But our history is showing us, the victory of Adwa is the main important thing for Africans, not only for Ethiopians, for Africans and all over the black people. So we proud our country, we supported our countries, a lot of educated people in all over the world. We supporting our government. If the Ethiopian government is a peace and a reconciliation with the others groups.
The Ethiopian American Civic Council also disclosed that it has been working to fight established media through substantiated information.
The new era is the diplomacy, is the digital diplomacy, what the TPLF junta is doing right now. They're mobilizing their group and they're sending disinformation or totally and through biased information they feeding to the Westerns. So basically Ethiopian American Civic Council is defending the country by providing what's actually happening in the ground, what's the reality here in Ethiopia.
Zodu underscored that Ethiopian diaspora community put pressure erroneous reports by established media to be cancelled after they publish.
The junta, they are a good coalition with the international media, yes, BBC, CNN, Al Jazeera, and all the international known medias are all the time they're supporting the negative things about Ethiopia. They don't need to broadcasting the very good things and important things about Ethiopia. So because of that, the world they assume Ethiopia is very corrupted and there is no completely human rights. They are abusing by the militaries of Ethiopia or by the Ethiopian government. That's completely is false. The Tigrayans, yeah, we don't need to killing anyone, any innocent people, by any means, whether the Ethiopian military defense or others. We don't need they don't need that. But, in Amhara, in Oromia, in Somalia, in Afar, it's a lot of people was killed by the Tigrayans junta. But this problem is never been mentioned by the international medias. The Ethiopian diaspora and the Ethiopian medias, we struggling to avoid this misinformed information broadcasted by the other media. So already we connected all Europeans who living in Europe, in America, and the Middle East. We working together.
Ethiopian diasporas vowed to further strengthen their support for their motherland.
Council for Ethiopian Diaspora Action says some 500 Ethiopian diasporas are set to visit home country by the coming new year. A delegation which coordinates the visit of Ethiopian diaspora arrived in Addis Ababa on Wednesday. The diaspora community, who have drawn from various continents, are expected to visit selected historical sites and the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dome. Tourism Ethiopia Director Seleshi Guma said the diaspora community has a significant role for the growth of tourism sector.
The diaspora does mean a lot for the Ethiopian tourism development in general. So we need them. We need them to come and be an evidence and give testimony to the rest of the world that Ethiopia is a big country, though there are some areas where there is a challenge to visit, but majority of the Ethiopia is a safe touristic zone, safe tourist corridor, whereby people can travel, people can even invest. So that's the meaning we want to use the opportunity and to pass a message to the rest of the world.
The visit will create an opportunity to invest on hotels and lodges, Seleshi noted.
We have conflicts in the north tip, whereas the south, the west, the east, and the central part of Ethiopia is still safe zones, safe corridors for people to visit touristic places, for people to have conferences, for people who are interested, to visit families, or for people who are interested to invest in something else. We know that Ethiopian diaspora has a lots of contribution investing in lodges, in resorts, in hotel, restaurant business, in tour operation business too.
They are expected to correct short-sighted view against Ethiopia, build Ethiopia's image and curb defamation.
The diasporas are here basically to create, an impression that the Ethiopian government needs the international community support. And secondly, some of them were not able to visit the country for the past 29-30 years. So now they are here, and accordingly they would love to see what are the changes in the past years and to also experience the touristic places that they can see in the 5 circuits I have mentioned earlier. The third agenda they have is to also build the image of the country in the outside world, as some of the international media were defaming what Ethiopia is today.
The United States of America donated 46 cutting-edge tuberculosis testing machines worth 46 million baht to the people of Ethiopia. At the handover ceremony, the U.S. ambassador to Ethiopia, Gita Pasi, said the American people are proud of this enormous step toward eliminating tuberculosis in Ethiopia once and for all. These new machines will reduce the time it takes to diagnose TB across the country from 2 days to 2 hours. Faster testing is key to finding and successfully treating 90% of TB cases nationwide. Today's donation of testing machines provided by the USAID U.S. Agency for International Development is just a part of the United States investment of over $4.2 billion in development aid in the last 5 years alone. Welcome back, you're watching Addis News Hour. In the fading away of Ethiopian year 2013, the governments of Egypt and Sudan, as well as the Arab League, treated the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam negotiation defiant of international water laws and moral values. Their stance was entirely flawed and against fair utilization of common resources. Over the year, the issue of GERD was taken to wrong places, like the United States, United Nations, World Bank, European Union, and to the Arab League, among others. Finally, the issue is directed to its rightful place, the African Union. Sintayo Tamara tells us major points of GERD issues in the year.
Donald Trump's shocking remarks below the dam, which was watched 10 months back, was really outrageous to Ethiopians.
It's a very dangerous situation because Egypt is not going to be able to live that way. And they'll end up blowing up the dam. And I said it, and I say it loud and clear. They'll blow up that dam, and they have to do something. Because they could have stopped it. They should have stopped it long before it was started. I said, how do you let it get built and then you say they have a dam?
The leader of the great nation failed to strike a balance and exposed his ignorance about Ethiopia and its dam. The Arab League repeated common mistake on GERD and remained one-sided, blindly accepting only words of downstream countries. Irrespective of the challenges it faced, GERD diplomacy over the concluded Ethiopian fiscal year was one of the greatest achievements of the past trilateral negotiations.
We have all the intention to live together in peace and cooperate for our mutual benefit. The GERD demonstrates this core principle of collective well-being and prosperity. That is why the GERD is one of the regional integration projects under PIDA, the Program for Infrastructure Development in Africa.
While Ethiopia believes Africans and their institutions have a capacity beyond solving the Nile dispute, Egypt and Sudan recurrently tried to involve parties like the Arab League, the World Bank, the EU, UN and the US. And such inconsiderate non-African intervention in the Nile geopolitics could spoil negotiation efforts the Donald Trump way and vividly reveal its bias. The continent's giant, the African Union, has been trying to settle the GERD dispute. In this regard, South African President and former EU chairperson Cyril Ramaphosa's effort was immense until Egypt and Sudan downplayed African solution under the auspices of the EU.
A solution is possible because the two countries are great countries and the Nile River is important to both countries, and there must be a way in which their interests can be addressed, and there must be a way in which a solution can be found. As for ourselves, we are willing to play a role in facilitating whatever agreement that can be crafted.
His successor, DRC's president, is still trying to resume the negotiation until downstream countries took the issue to the Arab League and then to the UN Security Council, where Ethiopia has got the golden opportunity to show the world that its dam is only a hydropower dam being built based on equitable water share principles.
We stick to the AU-led process. We are committed to that. There are some technical and legal issues. It shouldn't be politicized, shouldn't be internationalized. I understand there are some countries who want to bring the issue to the Security Council, but this is not the way how to solve transboundary problems.
But the battle at the Security Council was concluded as the world stood with Ethiopia's just, rational and fair interest in using its water resources.
Egypt, Ethiopia and Sudan are all at an important stage of development, and the Nile River is of great significance to the life and development of the three countries. China supports the three countries in reaching an agreement on the Transboundary Water Cooperation Program through dialogue and consultation for the sustainable management and utilization of the Nile water so that all the riparian countries can benefit from it.
Mr. President, Kenya recognizes the critical importance of the principle of subsidiarity in this matter and recommends it to the Security Council. We call on all the parties to recommit to negotiating in good faith within the AU-led process in a spirit fired by our shared dream of building a more united and prosperous Africa by 2063.
The Russian Federation is closely following developments in the situation with the Great Renaissance Dam being built by Ethiopia on the Blue Nile River. We are fully cognizant of the political and socioeconomic significance of this hydropower project, the largest on the African continent, for the millions of people living in Ethiopia.
Although the Ethiopian year of 2013 was turbulent and eventful, the nation has managed to hold its first free, fair and credible national election by June this year. Ethiopia had to postpone this event twice, first due to the coronavirus pandemic and later because of security issues. Talking to ETV English, a political expert and a lawyer said the 6th general election was an exemplary and fundamental move to bring legitimate government in Ethiopia. Habtam Ashagri had the following recap about the elections in June.
Based on the 1995 constitution, Ethiopia needs to hold the national elections every 5 years. These are the national, parliamentary and regional elections. The general and parliamentary election of June 2021 remain one of the outstanding events in the Ethiopian year of 2013. As a result, Abiy's administration has been undertaking massive institutional reform activities by appointing Burtukan Mideksa, an opposition leader turned reformist, as a new chair of the National Election Board of Ethiopia. Despite preparations, the nation postponed the event twice. The nation was given forced to delve into a constitutional interpretation for choosing a path not clearly stated in the constitution. After the massive political reform across the country, the federal government called upon exiled political parties, and the numbers of contesting political parties have been increased. The 6th general election is also critical to the nation in remedying socio-economic as well as other critical challenges across the country. Although the nation held this event with the view to democratically elect its leaders, there were some Western plotters to thwart the process.
The past election is the first and ever election for me as Ethiopian citizen. Those people behind the curtain, they don't want, to see such type of democratic election in Ethiopia. We don't have any such type of experience, participating the opposition party freely and fair.
It's clear that the nation needs to be, organized and led by a responsible government.
While some ranted about Ethiopia not being ready for the event, other Western-backed actors suggested Ethiopia hold a nationwide political dialogue to resolve political tensions prevalent in the nation. Some Western and European countries have also gravely miscalculated the domestic matter of the nation and intervened against Ethiopia.
These Westerns, they are trying, snatching our resources, natural resources or something. we have abundant resources. So they don't want to see elected legitimate government here in Ethiopia. So even if those Westerns, they are not participated or giving the recognition for the past election, Western countries, they are talking about the democratic election, about the democratic fairness and free election. The only thing is they don't want to see such type of government in Ethiopia or somewhere other areas in Africa or in developing countries.
Many Ethiopians, I'm not the only one, pretty much every Ethiopian believes the same, that these Western powers have a clearly visible agenda against Ethiopia, the Ethiopian government and the Ethiopian people.
The debates and campaigns have helped Ethiopians judge the competent parties for who they really are. The televised debates and rallies also reflected the vibe of the moment. While the overall electoral process remains peaceful, it was far from free. Thus, some electoral irregularities have been reported by some contesting political parties for NEBE, and they showed the democratization process in the country.
I believe we had a chance to fix those, limitation of the law, which was major in its sense.
My expectation is that it would hopefully, with minor difficulties, would be completed in a credible way. That's what we are hoping, that's what we are watching very closely.
The board itself admitted on polling day that some serious irregularities were observed in Amhara and Southern Nation nationals and peoples of Ethiopia in particular. According to scholars, the sixth general election brings a legitimate and intact government that helps to manage the recent instabilities across the nation.
There have been appeals within some election stations. They have been appealed and accepted some of them. So this is, I think, as we can take as a referendum for Ethiopia.
The engagement of civic societies and international institutions in the electoral process are an important element to say the sixth general election is quite free, fair and democratic. While Western actors were largely absent due to their own self-interest, the AU and other observers played a critical role.
CSOs, civil societies, has been participated on it, and even if the European members were, trying to be part of it as an observer, they were not giving us the recognition for the election.
According to the information obtained from NEBE, shows close to 55 contesting political parties have participated in the sixth general election at regional and national level. It is to be recalled that the National Electoral Board has announced delay in some constituencies across the nation and the whole Somali state, where the election will take place in late September.
Local officials in Ethiopia alleged that the TPLF forces have killed more than 120 civilians in recent days following battlefield losses in what would be one of the deadliest massacres of the country's 10-month war. Sonat Ubalam, administrator for the Dabat district in the Amhara region, said on Wednesday that 123 bodies had been recovered and more were expected to be found. The attack on September 4 was the most severe one, especially in China Teklehaimanut village, the administrator said, adding the attack began on August 27 after Ethiopian forces blocked an attempt by TPLF fighters to seize the city of Gondar. Local residents blamed the TPLF forces for looting, shelling and killing civilians, Sonat said. Children, mothers and even religious elders were also targeted, he said. The death toll could be as high as 200, Bakala Itbarak, head of the North Gondar Health Bureau, said.
دم شتوتا شگود متریسو عنگ توتا یاد گرگسلا دم شتوتا
This is Addis News Hour. And finally, Kenya's demand for medical oxygen has hit critical levels, with growing numbers of seriously ill COVID-19 patients due to the Delta variant of the coronavirus. Kason Janesmo from Africa News.
Hertel Social Enterprise that manufactures medical oxygen is planning to double air output in a bid to meet demand.
We are finding this as a difficult time, and getting this oxygen has been a hassle. Sometimes you've been going so low that you go to other hospitals, you go to other places to get oxygen.
The Nairobi-based business produces oxygen by using a natural salt to separate oxygen and nitrogen from the air. However, this method produces rather small quantities, leading to Hertel's intention to invest $1.5 million in order to switch to an air separation unit that will produce liquid oxygen. It will try to produce 20 tons per day. The new oxygen quotas will be made by raising funds through international financiers.
In the month of August, when we had more cases that I would say Delta variant related, the demand went even further. So for some of them, you see an increase from a demand of 40 bottles a day to as high as 200 bottles a day. So we've reached a point in Kenya where the demand for oxygen from our hospitals was higher than the total production capacity within the country.
Bernardo Layo, a physician and founder of Hertel, says it won't be easy as the pandemic has significantly increased the demand for oxygen and components essential for air production. Hertel supplies 200 hospitals in Kenya. However, despite having 3 plants strategically set up to reduce the cost, there is already over 10 times more than most countries. Olaya said, meeting demand seems beyond reach. At K Hospital in Nairobi, the usage of medical oxygen cylinders increased from 3 to 8 per day. Staff said they needed to look for oxygen from other hospitals whenever they ran short of supplies.
Before we go, a quick reminder of our top stories. Ethiopian diaspora community pledged to maintain support for the nation. Political experts applaud the role of the 6th general election for political transition. That's it for the news for me, Solomon Danya, and the rest of the English team here in the studio. Thanks for watching.